ready. It's on. I can edit it.
Hi, I'm Maureen Meehan. I formerly went by the name of Maureen Meehan Applin when I crafted these novels. So the first one I crafted was Dying to Ski. Dying to Ski is set in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and it is about two co-founders of a pharmaceutical company, and one of them ends up dead on the ski slopes of Jackson Hole. And initially they thought he just had a ski accident, but it turns out he was deliberately poisoned. And the novel follows several suspects around the globe to Bali, back, and we ultimately find out who wanted Preston dead. My second book, Snake River Secret, is actually based on a somewhat tragic story in my life. My legal secretary was murdered back in 1996, and I was really devastated about it because it was her estranged husband who murdered her, and it was foreseeable and preventable. So that Mary McIntosh is my protagonist, but I based it off keeping Lisa alive in my life. So in this book, the legal secretary, Layla, who is a Shoshone Indian, ends up being found in the Snake River, and she's been murdered. And what Mac does is to figure out who wanted her dead and why. It's pretty intriguing. It involves illegal drugs, including what I envisioned at the time was a Botox injection, and one of my proudest works. The next work is Powder River Poison. This is based on a true story of Buck Brannaman, which his name in the book is Butch Anderson. He owns a large ranch outside of my hometown of Sheridan, Wyoming. And he is known as, globally, as the horse whisperer. He trains horses on a high-end scale. There was a movie made about it called The Horse Whisperer. But this case is regarding his ranch in Wyoming, where a methane gas company came in and bought the mineral rights under his property, which you can do in some states. And they drilled and did the fracking, and it basically ruined his business. And it's the lawsuit as a result of it, and Mac is involved in that litigation. The fourth book is Pandemic Predator. This is something I wrote in the mid-2000s about a serial killer who goes around the globe purposefully infecting women with the H5N1 bird flu virus, which spreads all over the world and shuts down the globe. Long before COVID, so a little bit bizarre, but true. The fifth book I don't have in print. My fifth and sixth books I did not put to print. And that one of them is called The Five. And The Five is based on my cabin in Colorado that we go to every summer. I've gone to my whole life. And I was supposed to have a girls' weekend there with my college roommates, and nobody showed up. So I bring Chandler Craig there, who is a serial killer based on a true story in Rhode Island. Certain states have a law that no matter what you do, age 21, you get released from juvenile detention. And this, in fact, happened to this individual. He comes to Wyoming, and he creates havoc. He threatens each woman with the statement, these 5 college roommates, that one of your husbands hired me to kill you. You guys have to figure out who it is. So they kind of are pitted against each other trying to figure this out. And then my sixth book is Poison by Proxy. It's a Munchausen by Proxy case about an upstanding couple in Sheridan, Wyoming. Dad's a doctor. Mom is the, pivotal society woman. And their youngest child has failure to thrive, always has some illness. And it's believed, the police are investigating it thinking she's Munchausen by proxy. And there's a twist and turn along the way. Think of the movie The Sixth Sense. And that is that sixth book. Recently, within this year, I crafted a book called 60 Dates in 6 Months with a Broken Neck. And it's true. In the last 6 months, I finally gone back into the dating world after my husband passed away 10 years ago. And I took copious notes about all these gentlemen, because you have to keep it straight. It's a numbers game. And I would go on these coffee dates or hiking dates, and come back and write commentary and give them each a nickname because these are my bad dates. They're horrible. People just do the dangest things in this dating world. And I'm on a couple different dating apps, and it doesn't matter. It's all the same. Horrible dates. And so I was talking with a girlfriend about it and sharing some of my nicknames, and we were laughing over dinner. And all of a sudden, the light bulb went on that this would be a funny satire. So, and in January, I did fall and break my neck in my kitchen. So, 2 days after coming home from the ICU, I have a date at my house. He comes to me because I can't drive. And it was a terrible date because on the third date, he stood me up. And I have given everyone these nicknames. His is all dressed up and nowhere to go. And I have Goodbye Coffee, who this gentleman, maybe should be a priest, invited me for coffee to say he couldn't date me because I'm intimidating, because I did the Iron Man in 1992. And I chuckled to myself during Goodbye Coffee date, saying that if that's, you're intimidated by something I did 30 years ago, sit down, buckle up, Buttercup. I've done a lot more since then. Boston Marathon. Raised 4 kids on my own after my husband passed away. So, anyhow, every guy has a nickname. They're very clever and funny, and I think it's a really enjoyable book. So, thank you for your time. It's been my pleasure.
Okay, so here we are at the London Book Fair 2024. Exciting time to be able to launch my book, This to Me, and Wet My Hands. The books entail basically, my life. Initially, I thought about writing about what it would take to become a heart surgeon, but I decided to kind of trace my life from early on, where there's a lot of negativity that I wasn't smart enough or wouldn't be able to do it. And then I met someone special, and Sharon, who have been together now going on 50 years, was very encouraging. Went through military, undergraduate, 2 residencies, and busy surgical practice at the university. And then we had a devastating problem with a rare cancer she had, and then a stroke. So I had to go from being a very busy provider of heart surgery to do that, plus take care of her being a caregiver. And then about 3 years later, it was my turn. Then I developed multiple myeloma, a cancer in the spine. And now I became a patient. And so what I did, I continued to trace myself, my family, what we've gone through, all the complications that occur, and kind of share that with everybody. I've written the book in a way so that if you're non-medical, you can understand it. And I put in a lot of humor, a lot of love in there, a lot of passion and resilience. And that's how you survive this. The second book, This to Me, I continue my journey in treatment. And then I decided to add some of my most interesting surgical cases where I had to be innovative to help people. And there are some patients in there that no one else would want to operate on or take care of, and very successful and very rewarding. So here we are. We're continuing therapy and treatment, and hoping that I can influence the next generation of medical students and residents. I want them to be humanistic. I want them to not use only technology, but also get to know the patient. I think that's extremely important, and I try and reiterate that. So here we are at the London Book Fair. Super excited to get this launched, and I appreciate you listening. And the book is available at yervatibooks.com, and I appreciate people at the Reading Glass helping sponsor me today. Wonderful organization, a great venue of books. Go check them out as well. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, it's Erin with the Reading Glass Books. We're here with Dr. Yervardi at the London Book Fair 2024. We're excited to be here, and he is officially our first offer to kick off the day. So, Dr. Yervardi.
Well, thank you, Erin. Thank you for that introduction. This is exciting to be here.
Good.
And I really appreciate the Reading Glass Books providing the booth and the venue.
Of course.
Very exciting times. Thank you.
Great, you're welcome. All right, so let's get started. How did you become a writer?
Well, what happened was I always talked in the OR about writing a book. I thought initially I was going to write about what it took to become a heart surgeon. And then when I got cancer, one of the therapies, you get a lot of steroids.
Yeah.
So I couldn't sleep. So I started writing. I thought, why don't I write my life? Everything I've gone through, what we've been through, where I am, to kind of share with everybody and what it was to go from being a provider to caregiver for my wife's stroke and then a patient. So the three different dichotomies have really shaped it.
Wow, that's profound.
So that's what started the writing.
Wow, and you haven't stopped since. You've got two books here, This to Me and Wet My Hands, and I can only imagine. What a great story.
I've always been an underachiever. I was number 2 in my medical school class. I missed number 1 by 0.036%.
Oh, no.
That hasn't affected me later in life.
Right. Well, the title of your book is interesting to catch one's attention. I mean, just walking by, it's eye-catching. You wonder what the hands are doing. So, can you give me a short snippet for each of your books?
Sure. The titles are interesting. First one, Wet My Hands. That was something our chief would have the tech pour water on your hands to get the knots to tie, get them tighter. So I thought, what a great title, Wet My Hands. The second book was This to Me. He put his hand out and say, This to Me, which meant that everybody was ready to do surgery. We all agreed this is the procedure, way before time of patient safety.
Wow. Somebody in the medical world would never know, or somebody not in the medical world would never know the ties to surgeons and what they say. So that is and it makes the story catchy.
What I did was I waited till like the end, like a prologue, to say what the title was.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to keep everybody captured for a while.
Right.
Thinking, What's
right.
this
What
title?
is this
What's
about?
it mean? What's it mean?
Well, we're here doing a book signing today. Have you ever dreamt of doing a book signing?
I did, but I wasn't sure how to navigate it, the complications of doing it.
Yeah.
So this is super exciting. And
it's fun.
This group has been really great at organizing and taking care of me.
We're very happy to hear
very
that.
comfortable.
We're happy to have you, Dr. Yervardi. What do you anticipate for today?
Well, I'm hoping we can generate more interest in the book and sales. Ultimately, the royalties are going into my scholarship funds.
Yes.
One at the University of North Texas Health Science Center, the College of Osteopathic Medicine, and the second at the University of Strathclyde in Scotland.
That's wonderful. That is
I'm
such a good
professor.
That's great. Do you hear from any of your readers?
Oh yeah, all the time.
What do they say?
They just love it. They just are intrigued. Everything I've gone through. There are aspects of my life no one ever would have thought or that I've revealed, because I just laid everything open.
And books are supposed to be like that.
Oh,
you
yes.
are a true open book, Dr. Yervardi.
Yeah, people tell me that when they read the books, they're formatted in a way it's like we're talking.
Yes.
And we're having a good discussion.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree.
So,
Well, thank you for coming today. We're going to kick off his book signing here shortly. So if you're in London, come see us and get a signed copy from Dr. Uvardi.
Aaron, thank you very much, and I appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. It's Erin with the Reading Glass Books. We just finished up Dr. Uvardi's book signing. All right. How did it go?
Oh, Aaron, this was exciting. This is my first one.
Yes.
It was a great experience interacting with the participants of this program. Just super being able to talk about the book and give them a signed copy.
Did you have a favorite part of your book signing?
Yeah, I think the part I liked the best was the interaction where people come up at first, not sure, and then start to open up as I talk with them, about the book and intrigue them, about what the content of the book is about.
Right. We touched on that a little bit. Some people are shy, but as soon as you push them in the right direction, they open up like a book. Right. What was your key takeaway from today?
Key takeaway is that I really appreciate, the Reading Glass Books organizing this thing in such a way. It made it for me as an author just so painless, so streamlined, and I really appreciate it. That was absolutely fantastic.
We're so thankful to have you. So after your book signing event, and you mentioned it was your very first one, what does literary success mean to you now?
Yeah, I'm hoping that as this got on social media, I've sent pictures and so forth to the university for our social media to get out and get some sales going so I can build my scholarship.
And that's such a wonderful mission you're doing.
That's my goal.
It is. So, do you want to share anything? And we touched on this earlier in the pre-interview. But are you writing anything right at the moment that you'd like to get little feelers out?
Yes. So I'm working on book 3. It's going to be called 30 Degrees on Bypass.
Wonderful.
It'll continue some of the story of what I'm going through. But I'm also going to go back and dive deeper into some of the sites in the first book, growing up in Allentown, PA, going to grade school, high school, being in the military. Really get in depth on there and talk a little deeper about that and how those aspects affected my life.
That's so exciting. We cannot wait to get that book in our hands, give it to our readers, our customers, get it in the store. Dr. Uvardi, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you for
again,
joining us in London.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Hi, I'm Joe Petrina. I'm an author, about a dozen books. I'm at the London Book Fair with just 2 of the books that I feel have a lot of good potential. I'll start with the easy one. This is the children's series, and it's 6 books, and we cover different animal groups. Moo Cow is farm animals. Toiki is birds. That's not a kitty. That's, various animals. We have Arctic animals. And it's a beautiful book for children. Notice the white background and all the beautiful photography. And inside, they, again, a white background. And it's very captivating. Every child who picks this up loves looking at each individual page, the animal, the little boy, and it goes on book by book. And that's that's not a Toiki series. Looking for a publisher for this book. It's easily translated into other languages, and I envision a tablet version as well. Which would not be hard to make. I prototyped it, but if we would hire a professional group. So it's a great international product. Moving to my other project. This book is Subjugated, Humanity Unraveled. And it's really about 15 years of research on my part, looking into ancient texts from Mesopotamia and India and China, and even Greece and Egypt, and the Mayan world as well. And it basically says, in a nutshell, around 6,000 years ago, a primitive humans, I call them the wild humans, they'd been around for 100,000 years, but only had campfires and camp dogs and pottery. They were intentionally seeded by an alien group. And it's all in the historical. I'm not making any of my claims up. I'm just reflecting what I've found through research. So this is more the research part of it. And it also says, if that's true, it explains our personality as a Homo sapien, because we're really torn between our primate roots, and primates have a certain lifestyle and way they organize, versus the alien side, which is where we got our imagination, our ability to discover, which is more of a freewheeling trait. So we're kind of torn between the primate and the alien, and that is spelled out here. So many people were like, why does someone make a movie out of that? Why doesn't someone make a movie? This is very intriguing, the whole subjugated idea. And I said, well, I had time on my hands, so I've started this. This is the season 1. It just starts from Adam and Eve, goes to the flood, and there's 5 seasons. This is a fully built out screenplay. And again, I'm not making these things up. I take historical record and I flesh it out. So suddenly, these are real people, and you will know what Noah was thinking and saying. You will know how baby Eve was created from her mother, who was an alien. That's Grandma Eve. So it becomes a real narrative, and it's alive, and I don't think anyone's ever done it. So there's 5 of these series. This is a 4-episode series, and there are 5 of them going all the way. For the second series is Satan. The third series is Moses. Quite a story there. Then we have Heracles, the whole history of Greece, and then a very intriguing last season, which is the Renegades. We were not the only ones that were experimented with. There were other species, and I won't get into that here. But those are my 2 big projects, and at least I need a publisher for this, and if the publisher could help me with this, we would have, quite a synergy between the book and the movie rights. And that's it from the London Book Fair. Joe Petrina here.
Welcome to London Book Fair, Days 2.
Lady Sarah. She is one of our authors here today. How did you become a writer?
I think I became a writer because I lived in the wilderness and I was raised in a wilderness, and it was 6 days by horseback to any kind of world,
Wow.
and I lived like in another era. But one thing that my family had was a lovely library.
Wow.
So I also had a nice piano and a cello, and we had music and we had books. And I made my life out of daydreams from books. And
Hi everyone, it's day 2 at the London Book Fair and I am sitting with Miss Lady Sarah. She is one of our authors here today, and I can tell you we've been sitting here for probably 15 or 20 minutes and she's filled the room with her presence, literally. People are already stopping by, coming to see what this book on the table is all about. Thank you for being here today.
thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right, we're going to get started on the interview questions. I'm looking forward to asking you these questions. The conversation we've already had today has been very rewarding and eye-opening into what this book is about. How did you become a writer?
I think I became a writer because I lived in the wilderness and I was raised in a wilderness, and it was 6 days by horseback to any kind of world,
Wow.
and I lived like in another era. But one thing that my family had was a lovely library.
Wow.
So I also had a nice piano and a cello, and we had music and we had books. And I made my life out of daydreams from books. And so I've had a favorite book that I loved, which was called the Green Mansions. And the Green Mansions was a girl that had been lost in Africa by parents that were actually missionaries, and they were adopted by a tribe of people who built their homes in the tops of trees.
Wow.
That's why it was called Green Jansen. And it was the job of the ladies to build that house. And at 4 years old, when I learned of it, I was ready to build my house in the
The
tree
trees.
and write my story about it.
That's amazing. So was being an author and writing stories ever a dream of yours?
I thought it was a natural. I didn't think it was more than a dream. I thought it was the reality of a good human.
Yeah.
So it was more. Now my dream is this:
Right.
to share what I have learned and what I have to give to people to make their lives better and to just give them love and beauty.
Well, the cover of your book is not only beautiful, but the title is so catchy. Can you give me a snippet of what the Enchantment of Poetry Book 2 is all about?
Well, the enchantment of life is something you create. You can live a very unenchanted experience, or you can decide to make it lovely. The French have a very good thing at that. I mean, when you go to eat food at their table, I mean, it's beautiful. It's an experience, and it's not just food. It's also food for your soul. It looks beautiful, tastes beautiful. Well, your whole life should be like that. This is their whole way to live. So Lady Sarah Paris has a quote that she often gives, that art is a way of life and life is an art.
I would agree with that statement. So, have you ever dreamed of doing a book signing session?
I've never done a book signing session, no, and I never dreamed that I would do that. I did dream of that being an author, and I have been writing since I was a child. And I wrote a poem very early on that was called Happy. Happy, are you happy? Tell me this, my dear. Yes, I'm happy, thinking you are near. That was one of my first poems. The other one was a little deeper, a little older, what was called The Circle. There was a little circle that went round and round, and where it went, nobody's ever found.
I think those are truer words today than ever.
Well,
it's very thought provoking.
That I want to tell you that as a child, I spoke in rhymes until I was a teenager.
Wow.
Drove my family crazy.
Well, tell me what you anticipate with today's book signing.
Well, I didn't have so much anticipations until I arrived at it. There was dreaming to sign things, and I thought it would be something like that. But I didn't know I'd have a beautiful person that was going to be so gracious, and I didn't realize that people would be so interested. And so it's beyond my expectations. I didn't dare to hope.
Well, today, hopefully, you hear from some of your readers, but in the past, have you heard from your readers? What do they say?
Well, I have lots of people in my life that love me. And that's a responsibility. Because when you're loved by other people, and you have to love back, which is great, and it's a wonderful thing, but it's serious. It's not just a casual thing. So, and especially with children, I think it's so important to be a role model. The biggest presents that I've ever got from children was they said, when I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Oh.
And that just goes
That's such
through
a
me
compliment.
like
I agree.
So I believe that you should live your life. The way you walk it shows who you are and what you can be to others.
Wow. What a testament. Yeah, I would agree. Children's love is totally pure. All right, well, let's get this book signing started. You've got a lot of people and a lot of attention, and I'm positive we're going to sell out today. Thank you for coming. We will show you snippets of the signing, and then stay tuned for the post interview. Hi everyone, it's Erin with the Reading Glass Books. I'm yet here again with author Lady Sarah Paris. It's been a pleasure. I can't tell you how wonderful what an outcome this was today, and it's been a pleasure to have you here. Tell me about it. What was your favorite part of your book signing?
The joy that people were having, looking at my book, and then looking at me, and then looking at my book, and then looking at me, and then wanting to be a part of it was very rewarding.
Was it your favorite part of signing?
Well, it is. I wouldn't say that was my favorite part. I think my favorite part was being interviewed by you.
Oh, thank you.
Because it was very, very sensitive and ennobling and made me feel cared about, and it was just precious.
That's a very good compliment. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. What was your takeaway? Do you have anything you'd like to do again?
Well, I think it's a start of working on my resume, which I think is very important at my time of life, put together so that there is a history of my work from child to now, and it also adds to the value of my work because it's a historical fact. So we're putting together certificates of authenticity and things like that to help people that when I'm gone and my foundation is still working, because I am working to build a sacred art school, and it will be funded by the foundation of my life's work.
What a wonderful legacy to leave behind.
That's
So after this book signing event, what does literary success mean to you now?
it's not about money. It's not about that at all. In fact, the book that I published in the past, I've never did it for money. I did it for the glory. Well, even my book says in the beginning even that I do this for the glory of art and for the glory of love and beauty and wisdom and all the good things. It's part of way of expressing that life is worth living and that we are important creatures and that we should ennoble ourselves with the arts.
So, what's your next steps? Is there anything you want to share with your following?
Well, my most famous saying, and I think, is that art is a way of life and life is an art. And what does that mean? You know, there's lots of things that you can do where it suddenly goes beyond better, and they say, well, they've turned that activity into an art. Well, that is true of paintings. Fine arts are not decorations. There's lots of art that is decorations, and but the people need to be educated what the difference is.
Right.
And so, yes, I think it's philosophical.
Yeah. What a lovely testament. Thank you for coming today. To our readers and writers and everyone here today, if you are in the neighborhood in London, come get your copy of The Enchantment of Poetry Book 2. And a little bird told me that a third book is coming out soon, and that's very exciting. Do you have any final words you'd like to share with your
Well,
readers?
I could share a bit about the third book.
Sure.
Is a lifetime book. It sums up all that I've learned and I've been very fortunate to have met a lot of the most important artists of our time.
Wow.
And learned a lot from them. So I could share that in my book. But it's also this book is summing up what it means to be an artist for everyone, not just artists. Because we are actually all artists. We are in the image of God and we're creators. And look what we've done in my lifetime. We had cars. I remember when planes was invented. I mean, we've got so much, but because we're artists and creators, and it's wonderful with technology. But I want my people to know that the most important art is the art that you do of yourself, and who you create yourself to be, and how you can be seen and heard and understood as a role model or a human if you can reach that level. And I would love to do that. I work on it all the time, and I'm very hurt when I miss that beat. But it's so important to be gracious and truthful and to help others and to make a better world. And I actually believe in the Lord's Prayer, which says, God asks you to say, that we should have heaven on earth. And believe me, I've been all over and I've seen examples of that. Beautiful, beautiful buildings and lovely arts and things all over the planet. And it's just this terrifying to see evil destroy it, to create hate amongst people with philosophies and stories that are untrue. So art is the one way of sharing truth and the reality of what ought to be, and there ought to be heaven on earth.
Thank you for sharing. All right, this is author Lady Sarah Paris. If you, again, are in the neighborhood in London, come pick up your signed copy. Thanks, everyone.
In London, let's go!